Arithmetic sequences. We already know what a sequence is. So what we're going to deal with are arithmetic sequences. My favorite way to do arithmetic sequences is by using something called an arithmetic mean. So I'm going to look at that first. Now, if you read your book, it's not going to have this in there. Well, it has some of it in there. It just doesn't do it the way I do it. But I'm going to do an arithmetic mean first. And so what an arithmetic mean is they're going to give you two numbers, and then they'll call out how many arithmetic means they want between those two numbers. So for instance, they might say 3 arithmetic means between 10 and 22. So that might be the question. I want 3 arithmetic means between 10 and 22. So what they're saying actually is I want 3 terms between 10 and 22. Okay, so remember we have, so this is how you do it. I have T1, and T1 is 10. And then between them, they want, let me see, they want 3 arithmetic means. So they want T2, T3, T4. There's my 3 arithmetic means, T2, 3, 4. And then T5 is my 22. Okay. Alright, so I have that filled in. Now, what they want to know is this. What is T2, T3, and T4? Well, I don't know, because the way I get an arithmetic sequence is by finding the distance. Not the distance, sorry, the difference. So if I'm looking for the difference, I don't know what it is. I know the difference between these two, but I don't know the difference between each one. So we're going to find it. And that's where we use an arithmetic mean. So in this case, what you're going to do is you are going to take the 22 and you're going to subtract the lost my thought process. You're going to subtract 10. So I'm taking 22 and I'm subtracting 10. Okay, so that's my last term minus my first term. Okay, the last term minus the first term. So there's a rule, there's one. Subtract the last term that they give you, given term, how about that, from the first term. Underneath that, what you're going to do is you are going to subtract 5 minus 1. Now, those are your subs, right? T1 and T5. So I'm taking my 5 minus 1. I'm taking those green ones. So the second thing is denominator subtract sub number, and the sub number is that subterm, sub 1, t sub 1, t sub 2, t sub 3, t sub 4, t sub 5. So subtract sub number of highest term given from the lowest. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking the 5 minus 1. Now if I wanted two arithmetic means between them, then T4 would have been my last number, and I just would have had, I would have had 2 in there. I'll show you that. You got to see it and play with it. All right, 22 minus 10. Is 12. Good night, bud. Okay. Is 22 minus 10 is 12. 5 minus 1 is 4. I can reduce that, and I have 3. That 3 is my difference, which means my next term, just so I can show you, my next term then is 13, 16, 19, and if I add 3, then I end up with 22. Okay, so I'm adding 3 each time. All right, so I added 3, added 3, added 3, I added 3. There's my difference. Right here, D equals 3. And I can find my terms in between there. So all I did was find the difference. 3 arithmetic means. Okay, so number 3 here is simplify. And that equals D. Okay, I'm going to have you do one. Let's see here. Okay, here's one. How about you do 4 arithmetic means between 15 and 50. Okay, so that means I want 4 arithmetic means between those two. All right, if you think you can do this, stop the video, follow, what's in blue here, follow my example and see if you can solve it. So go ahead and pause it and see what you can do. Okay, so I have 4 arithmetic means between 15 and 50. So what I have is T1 is 15. This time they want 4 arithmetic means, so that means I have to go T2, T3, T4, T5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what I need between it. And then I have T6, which is 50. So I need to find all those purple guys in between. Well, in an arithmetic mean, what I need is to find the difference. I don't know why I want to say distance. It just wants to come out. I mean difference. Okay, so we're going to take, just like I did up here, we're going to take that biggest one, subtract last given term from first term. The last one is the 50, the first one is the 15. So I'm going to go 50 minus 15 all over, And then the next thing we do is denominator subtract subnumber of highest term given from the lowest. Okay, so that's 6 minus 1. So 6 minus 1, that's where those numbers are coming from. So 50 minus 15 is 35. And 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 goes into 35 7 times, which equals my difference. Okay, well, because I have that, I can figure out what those 4 are. All I have to do is add. Let's see if I can add. 7 and 15 is going to be 22. And then, so there's 7 there, right? And another 7 would be 29. And then another 7 would be 36. And another 7 would be 43. And another 7, oops, I meant to write 7 in there, would be 50. So my answer is 22, 29, 36, and 43. Those are called arithmetic means. Now I use arithmetic means throughout this to find the next pieces of what we're going to do. Okay, so pause it, get the rest of your notes, and we're going to go on. Okay, now the next piece of this, I'm going to split into 2 different parts. So the first one is when they give you a sequence. So this is an example where they give you or given sequence. And then the next one will be just when they give you terms. Okay, so this one's example of a given sequence. So if they give me 4, 9, 14, 19, and then they go dot, 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 I want term 21. Okay, so they want to know what term 21 is. Well, the first thing you need to do is figure out what you have. So what you have is you have term 1. Term 1's always an important one. We use that quite a bit, and I'm going to give him a special label. Then you have term 2, term 3, term 4. They want to know term 21. Okay, well, there's a formula for this. And the formula is T sub n equals T sub 1. Oh, T sub 1. That's that green one over there, isn't it? That's why I put him in green. I'm going to put him in green again. So T sub 1 plus the quantity n minus 1 times d. Where does that n come from? Well, it comes from the subnumber. If I'm talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever I'm talking about, that's where it's coming from. Where is that difference coming from? Well, in this one, you can figure out the difference. You don't have to do any kind of fancy stuff. But I need D, I need T1, and I need N. Okay, so those are the three things that I'm going to need. So I need to know D, I need to know T1, and I also need to know N. Go in as, oh, a beautiful shade of teal. Okay, I need to know what N is. So I'm going to go ahead and fill them in. Well, T1, I can see there, T1 is 4. It's the first term. N, if I'm trying to solve for T of 20, T sub 21, N is 21. I'm getting that from here. Okay, there's my N. The difference, I'm going to have to figure out. But if they give you a sequence, you can figure out that difference. 4 plus what gives me 9? Oh, 5. 9 plus 5, 14 plus 5. So that must mean the difference, I actually said it right, is 5. Okay, the difference is 5. Once I have those three things, so, you know, in this one, that's all you got to do. And actually in the next one I show you, that's all you have to do too. It's just you have to go out about finding the difference in a different way. So I have everything I need, and I'm just going to put it in here. All right, so I have, I'm trying to find T sub 21, because that's what they want me to find. That's what they're asking about. I'm going to put in, it equals T1, which I have is 4, plus the quantity N, which I found is 21, times D, which is 5. So all I'm doing is substituting them in. I'm finding them, substituting them in. So what I have in the end, when I start to solve this thing and get rid of all these colors, I have T21 equals 4 plus 21 minus 1 is 20. So times 20 times 5. 5 times 20 is 100. Okay, sorry, I'm just checking my notes when I suddenly stop in a strange way. Just checking notes. Okay, so T21 equals 100 for T21. So if I were to add 5 each time, you know, and I went up 21 terms, I would get 104. Right? Okay. T1 is coming from term 1. That goes right in here. 21 is coming from the N that they want me to find. And that difference is coming from the difference in the sequence. So if they give you a sequence, it's pretty simple. Pretty straightforward, but here's, you know, here's the one. You're gonna have to find these things. Find D, T1, and N. You're gonna need all three. And then step 2 is plug in into formula. Okay, plug into formula. And remember that our formulas are always in green. This is a formula. I am going to put it, oh, it's kind of a dark green, but I am going to put it in green for you. So that's the formula. All right, I'm going to give you another one. I want you to do this one. Okay, here's one for you. Here's your sequence. I have 2, 5, 8, t set sub 17. All right, pause your video, see if you can do it yourself, and then come back to the video and we'll see how you do. All right, first thing I need to find is the difference. So I can see that 2 plus 3 gives me 5, 5 plus 3 gives me 8. So that difference must be 3. The next thing I need is T1. And that just equals that first term. Okay, so T1 is 2. The next thing I need is N, and the N comes from here. Whatever term it is you're trying to calculate. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to plug this stuff in to that equation up there. Okay, so I'm going to plug that stuff in. So here we go. I have T17 equals, here comes this green piece, T1, which is 2, plus this teal piece, which is 17, or N, times that pink piece, which is the difference. Okay, so I have them all plugged in. Now I have to do is simplify it. So T17 equals 2 plus 16 times 3, or T17 equals 2 plus 48, or T17 equals 50. So 50 is my answer. T17 is 50. So all I had to do was find those three things, plug them into the formula, simplify, and I got my term. All right, we're going to, you can pause the video if you want, take the rest of your notes, and then we're going to continue on. We have one more thing, one more piece, and that will be that. Okay, the next piece is a little bit trickier than this. Of course, I saved the best for last, because that's the kind of gal I am. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Do something like that and like this. Sorry, I have to watch me get all my papers in order. Okay, let's just make sure I have them right here. There we go. Looks good. Okay, so we still have arithmetic sequences. This one is an example. Given any two terms. Okay, this one's a little trickier. This one we're going to have to practice in class pretty good. Okay, let's see what the notes are here. There we go. I told you about that equation. Tn equals, and then we said all this, we used different colors. We had T1, and then we had plus N. Oh, shoot. Writing on myself with Sharpies, it's always good. All right, and then this difference. Okay, so there's our formula. And in this case, they're going to give us, I'm trying to read my notes. Okay, they gave us T2 equals 13, and then they gave us T5 is 22. Okay, now I'm going to put everything together. I'm going to put that first stuff, the arithmetic mean, in here. Now in your book, this isn't how they do it. Okay, I just do it this way because in my brain, this makes more sense and it's way 1,000 times easier. I'm going to use, so, okay, here's the deal. And they, oh wait, what's the question that they asked me? They want me to find what's T20. Okay, so I need to find T20. I have T2, I have T5, but they want T20. Okay, well, what I have to do is I have to find the difference. So, because then give me the difference. So I'm going to use the arithmetic mean to find the difference. So there's my number 1. Use arithmetic mean to find the difference. All right, it's the guy in pink. Okay, so when we talked about arithmetic mean, we said I'm going to take the 22, I'm going to subtract 13, okay, 22 and 13, and then I'm going to take these numbers as 5 and 2 and subtract, so 5 minus 2. So 22 minus 13 is 9, 5 minus 2 is 3, and my difference then is 3, and that equals D. That's how I find D. Okay, so I'm going to use the arithmetic mean to find D. Okay, there's the one thing I need. So here's my list of 3 things. So I need D, and I know now it's 3. The other thing I need is T1. And then the last piece that I needed was N. Okay, and N is whatever number I'm looking for, so I'm looking for the 20th one, so 20. Alright, now, the thing you don't have is T1, and you have to find T1. There's a couple of ways you can go about it. Depends on how clever you are. It depends on how far apart you are, too. I'm going to show you both ways. Okay, way number 1, and this is the one you're going to have to use if you're pretty far out, is as you can go, you could find, you could say this, T2, right, T sub 2 equals T1 plus, in this case, my N, in this case, my N is 2. See that? In this case, my N is 2 times my difference, which is 3. Now, I already know T2. They gave me a number for T2. It's 13. So I'm just going to substitute 13 for T2. So I'm going to have 13 then equals T1, which is what I'm going to be solving for. Right? 2 minus 1 is 1 times 3 is 3. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and 10 equals T1. Okay, so that's how I found T1. So step number 2 is find, let's say find N. That's pretty simple. Number 3, find T1. Now, this particular problem, to find T1, you could have done a lot easier. You could have said, my difference is 3. So T1 is the term before T2, which means T1 would have to be 10 if T2 is 13 and my difference is 3. Do you get that? T1 is the term before T2. So I could have just subtracted 3 and I would have had T1 equals 10. Okay, so there's a couple ways to go about it, but that way, as easy and lovely as it sounds, isn't always super convenient. It's just in this particular problem that it was convenient. All right, and then at that point, we have all the pieces. Once you have all the pieces, you just plug them in this guy so you can find your answer. So I want T20, so T20 then equals T1, which is 10, plus N, which is 20, and my difference, which is 3. And then I can just solve. Okay, so I have it all plugged in for you in pretty colors. 20 minus 1 is 19. 19 times 3, let's see, 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 9 is 27. So I'm thinking 57. So T20 equals 10 plus 57, or T20 must be 67. And that's how I find it, just like that. So that's one type. That's if you're actually given 2 terms. Okay, so if you're given 2 terms, that's what you're going to do. Now, I want you to try one. I'm going to give you 2 terms as soon as I can figure out what in the world they're supposed to be. Okay, here we go. So this is a U-do. We had some other U-dos and I didn't mark them, but this one is a U-do. I want you to do this one. T5 equals 24 and T9 equals 40. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do it. And you just have to follow, just kind of follow the example, and usually that'll get you where you need to go. And then come back and we'll see if we can't figure it out. Alright, you back with me? The first thing I'm going to do is use the arithmetic mean to find the difference. So the arithmetic mean is 40 minus 24 all over 9 minus 5. 40 minus 24 is 16. 9 minus 5 is 4. My difference is 4. So there's my D. That was one of my pieces. D equals 3. I also need T1. That's going to be my tough one to find. And then I need N. Oh, and you don't know N because I didn't tell you what I was even looking for. Let's find, let's see, what was I going to find? I didn't write down what to find, so I'm just going to make one up for you. Let's find T, how about T20? Let's find T20. Okay, so we're going to go to 20. So what is N? N equals 20. Hopefully that's not some humongous, it is going to be some really super big number. Uh-oh, get your calculators out. Alright, well I need T1, and I have T5. I could kind of think about it and go, okay, well let's see, then that means T4 is 21, and T3 is, let's see, 21 minus 3, 18, T2 is 15, T1 must be 12, if you did it that way. But I'm going to use this method here just to show you that T5 equals T1 plus, sorry, this is all running and I'm running out of room. This time I'm going to put a 5 in here because that's what I'm dealing with is a 5. And I know that the difference is 3. T5 though is 24. So 24 equals, let me scoot this up. 24 equals T1, which that's what I'm trying to get to. 5 minus 1 is 4 times 3 is 12. So plus 12, I need to subtract 12 from both sides. And 12 then equals T1. So I was right, I went backward. So you can do it that way. Also. It's hard though, especially, if I would have started out at T9, then, it takes a little more thought. So it's kind of difficult, but if you can just, grasp this, that's, it's probably easier. I have all 3 pieces. I'm gonna plug it into this formula that's right here. So plugging it in, then I have, and I'm gonna skip all the colors on you. I have T20 equals T1, or 12, plus 20 minus 1 times 3. So T20 equals 12 plus 19 times 3, which is sorry, I was lost in thought. Let's see. 60 minus 3, 57. No, that was the same one we had up there. 57 plus 12, 67, 68, 69. So T20 is 69. Right, did I do that right? 30, 57, 67, 68, 69. Right, so T20. So there's my T20. How'd you do? Did you get it? Alright, that's all I have for you. We will practice this in class. See you tomorrow.